introduce them in a second. So y'all already know how we do. I'm with Master P Ice Cream Man. So we about to get things started. Um, I'm letting the guests come in now. We got a couple more seconds in, everybody, and then we will get the conversation started, man. I know y'all out here enjoying y'all football Sunday. We're gonna get back to y'all games. You know what I'm saying? But just want to kind of keep my brother Brain here. Just kind of hopefully we can inspire y'all. This Sunday. So welcome, welcome. Come on in. Yep, yep. Oh, yep. Yo, all right, what's going on, everybody? You already know what it is. This is Chaz DL. This is Rap About Radio, Mental Breakthrough. Today we have a special guest with us this Sunday. He go by the name of Noya. You may see him on IG as Noya Meets World. I've been keeping up with this brother for a while now. I consider him like a peer, especially in this DC area, as far as influences go. And I'm very happy to see him moving and working through the years and just staying up, and I had to reach out to him and connect with him because I'm sure he has like a story that can help, inspire you guys that, going through your doubts. So everybody, welcome Noya. How you doing, brother?
Hey, how you feeling, my G? Everything is everything. Appreciate you, Chaz DL. Thanks for
No
having me.
problem. No problem, no problem. So this is the mental breakthrough. I tell all my guests, if you noticed on the fly, I have 4 pillars on the corners: faith, patience, character, will. So I like to kind of touch on them three things, and what they meant in your life, in your journey so far. So for those who don't know you, can you just do like a brief introduction of who you are and and kind of your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in terms of myself, my name is Noya, Maryland. I'm better known as Noy Meets World. It's a play on the show Boy Meets World. I used to love it as a kid, and my name is Noya, so it was like Noy Meets World. So it's me introducing myself to everyone.
Right, right.
Nevertheless, I say all in all, I'm a lifestyle curator. I deal with modeling, marketing, and media alike, and I find ways to tap into those various intersections and find a way to make it pop in the DMV. So that's really my spearhead.
Right, right, right. So I mean, I see. Okay, so you went to Maryland University, right? That's where you went to school in.
Yes,
Well,
indeed. College Park.
what was your major there? Like, what was your studies?
Oh, so my major was in American Studies with a focus of media, and then I minored
Mm,
in technology entrepreneurship. So that's what you see when I'm doing stuff online, and I'm finding a way to connect the media space into the technical platform.
ooh, so what piqued your interest going into going into college? What piqued your interest to going into that field, if you would?
I would say interning at Fox 5 News, I noticed that they didn't have a lot of digital space, and I started to realize that that's what I wanted to go into. And since I seen an empty void, I always look at voids as a sense of opportunity. If you have
Right,
a
right.
void, then that's a way for you to either fill in, for you to make revenue, or for you to inflict positive change. So when I seen that, I was like, let me really tap into that and see what I could do out of it.
Right, right. So that's interesting. So you intern because I want to ask you about that internship. You interned. Like, what year did you dive into Fox? Did you intern? Was it your freshman, your sophomore? Like, what year was that? Did you get
Oh,
into?
I was late. I was super late behind the curve. I'm a late bloomer, so I started my senior year around
Okay.
2000. I say the end of 2015 before I started interning at downtown locker room in
Mm.
2016.
Okay, interesting. Because I asked that because I went to Bowie. I went to Bowie State, right? And
Hey,
I had yeah, and I had my major was communications, but I wanted to know from you, like, like, for one, are your parents around? Like, are your mom's cool, father? Like, what is your story with your parents? Are y'all close to this day? And like, if so, what did they instill in you that you coming up that you say, this is I like this media. like this media? Like, what was that like coming up?
I would say overall, I would say that I'm a product of what it is to be a true millennial because my father was a Rolling Stone into music full
Mm,
fledged. My mom, she's been working in government since I was 1 years old. So with
right,
that being said, I was able to mix the two and find a happy medium between both of them in
right,
a way
right.
that can work cohesively. So I would just say that I'm a perfect mixture between the two.
No, no, that's dope. That's dope. So you leave you leave Maryland, right? So when I found you, it was some years ago because I've been doing this rap about TV thing, and it wasn't too many in that space, but you were. And I remember you was a downtown locker room in the box.
Mhm.
Um, and we was gonna get up one time way back then. I don't know, remember I was managing my artist, Young Sir, and it was just the schedule conflict. I did want to get on there, but can you kind of talk a little bit about detailing art and how you come up with that in the box? Like how did that come about?
Yes, absolutely. So what I ended up doing out the gate with the internship is taking full advantage of the opportunity. I want
Mm,
everybody who's watching right now to not allow the system to dictate what you bring to the table. For example, when I came to DTLR, I decided to bring my own camera crew. I paid
mm,
for my own camera crew. In
right.
fact, I was recording at another studio. Shouts out to Anwa, all my folks at Movement, the Movement app. Go ahead and download that. They started with me early. So I was recording that content and then I pitched it to DCLR and they liked it and decided to put it on their website. So that's how I got my start. Not
Mm,
by asking to start the show, not by
right.
waiting for them to create a budget or waiting for them to have a budget. I had to put forth my own dollars and facilitate my own opportunity. And when it made business sense for the company, that's when they decided to start, posting it because it was free content. So I interned out the gate, putting in my work, doing stuff for free, not doing
Right.
it for the dollar. So I just want everybody to know if you want to be on stuff like, for instance, we probably going to talk about later, like a billboard or something like that. Like you got to put in your work, got to put in your effort in order for you to get the blessings.
No, that's interesting because if you notice now, right, that's the conversation that's going on now. You got Joe Button and everybody, but that's the conversation that's being had now is ownership and and investing in yourself. So talk a little bit because I feel you. I'm with you. You
Yeah.
started this and hired my own camera crew, hired my own crew, and reached out to who I needed to reach out and put on my own content, production or content. Talk a
Yes.
little bit more about have that mindset go like how do you get that mindset to ones that's listening to investing in yourself, like what is that journey, what was that journey like, and just can you unpack that a little bit more about the beauty, or if you would, of investing in yourself and going that route.
I would say exposure is the first thing. A lot of times it's not the fact that, and I'm gonna get deep, it's not the fact that people of color don't have the education or don't have the capability to attain the knowledge. It's just the fact that we weren't exposed to certain things.
Mm,
And back in 1999, as a kid, I was exposed to the Matrix.
right,
So I was shown, hey, yeah, this is what life is, but it's not quite what life is. And that had me looking like, what? So I'm in school, but I shouldn't fully believe in school. So just that alone had me
yeah,
think, okay, it's time to think outside the box, and whatever you want to do, you need to look within yourself. So
right,
when DTLR came about and I was able to create content, and ironically enough, I was the only person with this own show. It
yep,
wasn't out of luck, it wasn't out of favoritism. It was just simply I spent the budget.
mm-hmm,
I decided to put myself in position to do it. I made the sacrifices. Therefore, I'm the only one that's an intern ever to have a show.
Yeah, right. Real rap,
Eh,
real rap.
Yeah.
You know,
So
that's what I'm talking about. So now I'm gonna jump into the pillars because now we're going somewhere with this. So explain about the faith aspect. You know what I'm saying? I don't, I'm a spiritual person, but I don't know how others are. But
mhm,
I would think at some degree, to get to level up, you have to have faith, not only in yourself,
yes.
but you have to just have faith in the Creator. So just explain a little bit about your faith and where did your faith come from? Like, where is your faith rooted from?
I would have to say my faith just comes from an assortment of individuals that, always kept that in the forefront of my head, even when I
Right.
didn't believe fully.
Yeah.
And the older I become, the more I realize, man, I should have started sooner. Oh my goodness, I could have got so much more accomplished if I got my mind right.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
I would just say it's really just family, and ultimately yourself. People keep looking to other individuals to find that sense of motivation when really is within here. When you find out that it's dead inside of you, and once you get yourself right, everybody else will fall in line. That's when things start to
Hmm.
unfold for yourself. So I would have to say it just started from like my family having a strong foundation, understanding in a higher
Right.
power, whoever that higher power is. I never been the
Right.
type to argue about specifics, but I'm all about understanding that I didn't make up the grass, and I don't know anybody else that can make up grass. So as
Yeah.
long as we on that level, we good.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So what would you say to ones? I found, the common thing I'm hearing when I'm speaking with all entrepreneurs like yourself is support system. You know what I'm saying? Some might not have a different household, but they can have a support system somewhere. Some being mother, cousin, but it's a support system. So what do you think that comes from for individuals that don't have that confidence or faith in themselves, but are looking for validation in someone else? What do you think that comes from? And lastly, how can they overcome that? If that makes sense.
Yes, indeed. I would say if it's not from family, it's definitely from friends, because just because you are relatives don't mean that you are necessarily family. You know,
Right.
I'm gonna just leave it at that, and I'm gonna just say it one more time for people that didn't listen. Just because you are relatives do not mean that you are family. They're regular people like everybody else. So keep that in mind when you are dealing with relatives, because it's not that family and money don't mix. It's just the fact that the people you think that are family are actually relatives.
Right, because I think it's mindset. Everyone they could be family, but the mindset could be on a lower frequency, if you would. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they say align yourself with like-minded individuals. So I get that wholeheartedly. Um, let's jump into what you kind of got going on now before I hit in the other pillars. I mean, I see you. At one point, you called yourself a sneaker influencer. Like, talk a little bit about the sneakers, man, and the love for fashion. Like, where did this come from?
Yes. So my love for fashion just came from day in and day out being fresh, making sure that before what are those was created, nobody ever asked you what are those. Uh,
Yeah,
so that just became an everyday thing living in PG County. And as you probably know, in the DMV, like PG County, we the ones that dress. Like
yeah,
DC, before DC and Shy Glizzy and all them dudes start getting it fly, it was like, no, DC, they keep it real, PG. Y'all the ones that dress. Y'all be styling. Y'all from the suburbs. Y'all got a little change. That always was the perception of Prince George's County.
yeah,
So I grew up in Maryland. I took pride in it. Like even though I, went to school in DC, you know how it is when you gotta
yeah.
go to schools you're not supposed to go to try to get on the road, whatever. Um, Even though I was going to DC schools and all of that, it still wasn't better than me that you still gotta be fresh. So
Right, right.
when the tennis shoe era came in, it's like we already was reading East Bay books in the back of a bus. We already was waiting in line in the middle of a weekday to get kicks. We already was
Yep,
doing that. So it was
yep.
nothing new when that time finally came. So people just catching up to what we already been on.
And that's crazy because I think the world is catching up. When I see you, bro, listen, I consider you somewhat a trailblazer in the sense of, you're actually changing lives behind, you know, fashion, sneakers
Thank you.
and like I saw you was donating the socks or whatnot. Like, what is that experience like? You ever think growing up, I'm being fresh, but I ain't think I could change lives by being fresh. Like, so what is that like, for you?
It is so rewarding, especially when you are in the early stages. Everybody
Right.
knows that I'm in the early stages of my career, so it's not like I'm sitting on $1 million or anything like that. But being able to work with $1 million companies to help my backyard, everyday
Mm-hmm.
kids to have socks and things like that, it's a little notch on the belt that shows you that, hey, if you keep on doing and fighting the good fight, is going to come
Yep.
around, and you don't necessarily have to be like a lot of individuals, and respect to those individuals that feel like they have to do this, but you don't have to
Right.
go out of town in order to make it. You can create
Ooh,
opportunities in your own backyard if you connect to your mind and find a way to do it, and you're willing to make the sacrifices to make it happen.
man, listen, I didn't have my mom probably watching this. My mom probably watching this. I didn't have this conversation where we be having this conversation, like, because I feel like in this area, it's just an open market of opportunity. You know what I'm saying? They tell you got to leave to make it, but I feel like if you really put the work in and kind of put your step your flag, put a foundation in this area, you can really thrive because it's so much of what people are not doing. So I remember coming up, the music scene, bro. Like, no, this DC area wasn't into hip hop for real. You know what I'm saying? So it made it easier for guys like Sir to kind of get into the game and make a splash. So
Facts.
I'm seeing that with you now, man. Like, that's funny you brought that up. But I wanted to transition in that and to say this: what has patience meant for you? You know what I'm saying? All these years of hard working and influence and like how has patience been a part of your journey? And can you kind of unpack like what is the mindset to that? Like individuals that want to be, want it overnight. Kind of touch a little bit on the importance of being patient.
Well, I'm gonna be real, there's no such thing as overnight. If you don't
Mhm.
have nepotism to work in your favor, if you don't have a plug and that person love you for whatever reason, if the person that's making the decisions, the person that they're laying with don't like
Right,
you, you're
right.
not going to get it. It's not necessarily about the people that are making the decisions. It's about the people that they're confining in, whether they like you or not.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
Mm-hmm.
understand that a lot of these executives, their daughter or the person, their wife, they'd be like, I like them. And then the executive that don't have any clue of the culture would be like, really? You like them?
Right,
Okay. They want to make whoever is around them happy. So they will hire them not because they done their due diligence or research, but
right.
because people around them think that it's a good idea. So
Mm.
once you understand the politics, it's a mixture between people putting forth groundwork. It's a mixture between people who have nepotism on their hand. It's a mixture between people who do dirt in order to get to where they are. So once you understand the game, you don't start to feel envious anymore because now I'm looking like, okay, you got that Lambo, but I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
do what you did to earn that Lambo. So I'll
Right,
see you
right,
later.
right. Real rap, real rap. Yeah. And so you're transitioning perfectly for me, but I could that now I want to jump into the character, but I do want you to kind of unpack a little bit more about the politics in this game, man,
For
because
sure.
there are politics. And again, I said this last time. We're in a war. We're in a war for good versus evil, whether people like it or not. You know what I'm saying? And the good work that you're doing I know it's people that don't want to see that done, and so they're gonna try to put barriers in your way to stop you to reaching for your goal. But talk a little bit about the politics in this game and how one you handle it, and then how can others, coming behind you deal with the politics in this game.
Well, like Malcolm X, the ballot or the bullet.
Mm.
I don't know if people
Mm-hmm.
ever read that. Malcolm X, the
I
ballot
did.
or the bullet. He
Yep.
told you in advance, you have to understand what you built for. Some people, it's perfectly fine if you are the blue collar, I'ma do what I need to do to pay for XYZ. That's perfectly fine because everybody's not built to lead. Some people are
Right.
meant to follow, like, and that's cool.
Right.
If you want the glory, you gotta take the scrutiny that come with it. So I would say in the politics of the things that I want to do and I want to spearhead, I understand that people are not going to automatically gravitate towards it just because it's a good idea. I understand that with these corporations, if it doesn't make business sense, they are not
Right.
going to help out here. That's the
Right. Right.
reality of it. So on the flip side of that, I feel like the road less travel is just so much rewarding
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
finally make it. So it's like, yeah, you're struggling, but it's not the same. It's almost like somebody that decided to get okay, you make six figures working for somebody versus somebody that's almost making six figures working for themselves. Yeah, you make more money. Yeah, you have more amenities,
Mm.
but I own mine. So are we really equal? Because if he decides to not
Right.
work
Right.
with you
Right.
anymore, you're done. I'm still gonna
Yeah.
have mine. So yeah, you may
Yep.
make an extra 20 grand, but on the grand scheme of things, how much do you actually own though? So
Mm.
that's where the
Right.
politics then come into play. When you're dealing with politics, it's like, no, if you own more, you have more leverage. But the road less
Yep.
traveled is harder. You have to deal with those one likes. You have to deal with that one person watching your stuff. You have to deal with you starting from scratch. Be perfectly fine with starting from scratch and from the grind because it's about your work ethic. It's not about the popularity. And once you understand that, and you start attracting people that's only focused on that already have the base or already have the marketing strategy, everything else falls into
Mm.
play. So I would just say stay solid and stay 10 toes down.
Stay solid, stays 10 toes down, right? So that leads me into character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like one, okay, where did your character, character and your morals come from? But like, because like you said, you could do something that could compromise your integrity to get to that $1 million that you've been dreaming for, or you can stand 10 toes down, stand on your morals, integrity, and grind through it because struggle is ordained. So what is it about your character and how did your character develop through the years to be, a stand-up guy? Like, talk about the importance of being a stand-up guy, especially in this game.
I've had the luxury of things not going my way.
Hmm. I want you to unpack that some. I want you to unpack that some.
So a lot of times we always want things to go a certain way, and then in retrospect, we like, dang, I would have sold myself short if it played out the way I saw fit. If I didn't know what I know now.
Yeah.
So I would say when it comes to situations where you think that you know what you're talking about, step back, breathe in, breathe out, and just watch. When you
Mm-hmm.
sit back and you just decide to let it unfold instead of you trying to make it happen, you'll start to see where you need to flow. And then your gut will just answer everything else at that point. So
Right.
I would say that's the best way. In terms of character, I feel it's all about your instincts. It's all about what you either have in your spirit or what you was taught to know whether something is janky and something isn't right, and it's better to let
Right.
it be and keep it moving. So,
Right.
if it doesn't suit your spirit, if it isn't in conjunction with who you are, what you stand for, then I don't think you should do it for monetary gain, because you see people who disappeared like Dave Chappelle. They're like, nah, I'm gonna wait. But he had to wait it
Yep.
out.
10 years.
Hold
10
on,
years.
people forget the fact he had to wait it out and how long he had to wait out in order to get what he's getting today. So when you
10
look at that,
years.
10
That's,
years,
that's crazy.
a decade, he had to lay low, he had the plot, he probably was working on material. He was working on material low key throughout the country, staying incognito the whole time, because he understood that it is all about timing. And once you get
Right.
that it's all about timing, just simply prepare. If you prepare all day long, when that opportunity comes, that's when success follows. So
Touche. 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 So, I mean, so we on character, man. I want to, you dig deep a little bit on, which again, what is your end goal? Because again, I want you to kind of talk about the initiatives you've been doing recently. Again, I've seen you delivering, boxes to these communities and to these homes. So talk a little bit more of that. Like one, what's your end goal, if you could, of your big picture, like what do you want to get accomplished, and then talk about the kind of initiatives that you're doing right now in the community.
yes, indeed. So I started working in conjunction with my creative partner, Design District, and they are a nonprofit organization spearheading in the DMV area, and we just thought of ways that we can facilitate. They do nonprofit work. I help with the creative style to bring these things to life, and ultimately we just want to do something to help our people. We understand that this pandemic is wiping people out in a multitude of ways, and quite frankly it was doing that before the pandemic hit, so we need it more now than ever. So instead of me
Right,
being, I'm not going to say me being selfish or what have you, I just wanted to use my skill set to see what I can do in my backyard, because a lot of people feel like you need millions of dollars in order to inflict positive change, when it's like,
right,
no,
right,
you can do something basic. It's everyday kids, full-blown teenagers, writing letters to corporations and getting whatever they need to facilitate in their communities. Why can't we put forth
mm,
the same effort? That same effort
right,
you doing to like everything, to scroll everything, to repost everything, to take a selfie, you can actually
yep,
spend that same time to write an email, and you'll be surprised that people aren't even acknowledging them, or how many steps it really takes to get it done. That's not too hard. So I would just say apply yourself and see what you like, and then connect dots there. Once you find out what you like, and you figure that out, you'll know what companies you want to look for. Um, if you love schools, then start looking into the county, start looking into the public school system. Understand what applications you have to fill out in order to go into these schools. Once you figure
yeah,
that out, know what plans of action that you need to take heed. Go to the PTA meeting.
right,
Talk to the teachers hands on. They need support. They need help. Then at that point, the teachers, they love what you're talking about. You pitch it to the principal, you go to the principal, and then they like the idea, and now you can do it there. For example, I didn't do that, but you can easily just start up a session and come up with that. If you love to tutor, you could pitch it to them. They need more students. They need more teachers to help. And you can not only help facilitate tutoring for free, you may even get a side hustle tutoring because you put yourself out there.
yeah. Right, right, right. I mean, you just gave some free game. I hope everyone listening gave some free game. So a little bit like I want to know how did you and your partner, how did y'all meet, and come up with this together, and then I see you got certified risk taker. That's a clothing brand, right?
Yes,
Clothing
indeed.
line, right? Yeah. So how did you meet your partner for District 51, and then what was the inspiration behind certified risk takers? Like, so can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So Design District, the nonprofit org, we've been working with each other in the past when it came to just general interactions, designs. He been supportive with me when I had my events over at DTLR and at Shoe City. So it just was one of those things where you start looking at people around you and then you ask yourself, how can you be of assistance? I started having a bunch of associates or a bunch of friends, and I was thinking, okay, it's cool to hang out with you, but what do you really do? How can we
Mm-hmm.
make a difference together? How can we make money together? So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I started doing in 2020. And the more I started to do that, the more I started to realize how many things we really have in common when we stop and started to talk about it.
Right, right,
So
right.
that's that. Certified risk taker, that's me and my sister, pretty major. I am pretty
Mm,
major on social media. We started to do that. So she spearheaded certified risk taker, and then I was
mm,
just being an investor, helping with the background, anything that was needed. So we started doing like the distribution and building that brand up, and that's really what helped to launch like Every Day is Wednesday luxury brand and building the motivational
right,
mindset. So certified risk taker is really self-explanatory. You certify,
right,
you
right.
take calculated risks in order for you
Every day.
to receive an even larger reward.
No, that's interesting. You said something that stood out to me. You said you look to your associates, your friends, and you reached out to them, and then on your brand, you with your sisters, so that's family. So talk a little bit about. I don't know if for you if you was uncomfortable in the beginning or not, but it's a lot of individuals who is uncomfortable to ask for help and to reach out and because they think they could do it all themselves. Because I was that at one point in my life. So talk a
Mhm.
little bit about kind of stepping out your comfort zone and kind of reaching out to the ones that's close to you and closing that gap. And as you see, you build something out of nothing. So I kind of like that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. And I want, disclaim this PSA for everybody. Keep in mind, when it comes to people that you're dealing with and you have plans on being successful, do this. Ask your family and friends. Start to narrow down who you can work with and who you can't. Because once you start to make it or you start to get a sense of momentum, any and everybody is going to come to you with their hand out. But if you already have a
Yeah.
conversation of what you're capable of doing and what you're incapable of doing, you could always bring up the fact that, hey, remember when blase blah, when we tried to talk about blase blah?
Boom.
Not
Where were you? Yeah, I
qualified.
get. Yeah.
You're not
Right.
qualified. We tried to talk
Right.
about it. You didn't have a business plan. We already went through it before. So when things start to roll, understand that it can't be done. And same as when it comes to
Right.
opportunities. A lot of times we look at the people around us, and because they are everyday people, we're like, they're not capable of such. But you do not know
Right.
them fully. You don't even know yourself
Yeah.
fully. So how about you ask instead of assuming, and let's figure out how we can crack the Da Vinci Code. Because if you're hanging around them and they can't do anything for you or you can't benefit from them, then that tells a lot of the people you associate yourself with. So if you get your
I
mind
like.
right, just maybe you can see the success that you're looking for. So that's what I want to do. I want to uplift the people around me, the people that don't, that's perfectly fine, but you can't say I didn't. And then, just
Yeah.
start blossoming from there.
Man, I like that. That was again free game, man. Hope y'all listening to these. So lastly, I want to move into will or love. I had will because it takes a lot of willpower to kind of get to that next level to break through that mental breakthrough. But
Mhm.
I changed it to love because you have to have love to be, if you're fearless in this game, you love it. You love it. You'll do anything for something you love. So talk about your love for, just everything you're doing as a whole. And then I want to ask you about, where did you, where did this fearlessness come from? Because again, you enter into a battlefield of, of so much, how do I say it, pushback for the positive that you're doing. So just kind of talk about you being so fearless and the love of what you're doing and how can individuals find love for whatever they, whatever their gift or talent is, how can they tap into that love?
You have to accept whatever emotions you are feeling, understand those emotions, break down those emotions, and then move forward. A lot of people dwell, well, I'm not going to say even dwell, they don't dwell at all. They try to push aside what they feel and
Mm,
don't deal with it head on. And
right.
that's actually a way of avoidance if you don't tackle it head on. So, with everything that I deal with, the emotions, whatever they are, I program them. I
Mm,
understand that it's an emotion and I'm a human being and I'm supposed to feel these emotions. Then
right.
I break down why I feel those emotions. What in my life make those trigger the way that they do? Then I ask myself probing questions as to why I feel the way I do. By the
Mm,
time I'm done breaking it down in my head, I'm relaxed and more than likely I can make a logical decision at that point to deal with whatever bull that just came in my
right.
way when I'm trying to do something great. So that's really how I tap in. That's how I figure out how to break stuff down in order to make sure that I make a sound decision before I make an irrational one.
Oh, so I like how you said you ask yourself questions, and this leads me kind of to my final piece.
Mhm.
Uh, can you kind of talk about whatever? Because again, before we advance to each level, we break through any level. Because there's so many levels of mental breakthrough. You do have a moment. I know for me, I had a moment to where I had to sit and talk to myself and God and kind of assess if this is what I really wanted. And then after I did that, boom, it took off. So can you kind of talk about that moment that you had in your life that you kind of doubted yourself or doubted the moves you was making, but after you talked to yourself and calmed yourself down, how did you overcome the doubt and the fear that you had before you skyrocketed to where you are now today?
Okay. So I'll give you one. I would say a few years ago, a gentleman he invited me to come out and do some work for a brand.
Okay.
Everybody else came out to show love for the brand, but they didn't wear the brand. I was the only
Mm,
person that wore the brand from head to toe, took pictures, did videos. Like I did the whole spiel as if it
mm,
was my first time. Just I wanted to create as much content as possible.
right.
Ultimately, that made that individual look good. They look real good. Fast forward, I didn't hear back from that brand or that person, and I just started creating my own shoots. Why? Because even though I was doing sneakerhead work, I wasn't getting the recognition to do photography or to do modeling, even though I've done modeling before.
Right. Right.
So I was like, all right, I'm just going to start directing my own stuff, paying for my own photographers again, paying for my own shoots. Maybe 9 months to a year later, that same company seen that shoot that I did, and somebody reached out to me through email, was like, hey, we love what you did at this shoot. We just wondering, can we send you some more shoes and you just hashtag us one time just to say,
Mm-hmm.
thanks. And I was like, sure. I did that and I started doing, multiple ones. They started liking what they see. And next thing
Right.
I know, the same person I did for that brand, they reached out and was like, hey, I know that this company, New Balance, they doing some work in the DMV. I don't know anybody that does as much work with the sneaker stuff as you do.
Right. Right. Right.
I'm a pitch to them along with a bunch of other people, and if they like you, they give you a call back. And because of my track record, the stuff I did for years on end for free, the stuff I was doing, paying my way, paying my photographers in advance, all of that stuff, I
Mm-hmm.
ended up landing that situation and was able to do, the billboards and all of that, for New Balance. So,
Yeah, I see the commercials. Yeah.
oh, thank you. So yeah, I did like 4 or 5 commercials. I was at Chinatown National Stadium, all over the metro lines. Like it was super lit, especially before this pandemic hit. You know what I'm saying? Like that was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
time the world was seen. We was out and
Nope.
about, no face masks. Like that's crazy. So
Right. Right.
in retrospect, looking back on it, I had to spend that money on them outfits. I had to spend money scouting, driving, looking for perfect locations for these shoots. Like it takes a lot of work to do stuff that people may just take a selfie in a mirror and think that that's content.
Right.
So I would tell people, man, put forth the effort, put forth the work because it will pay off. I'm living proof of that. Even though I'm
Mm,
still grinding, working to get to my millions,
mm-hmm.
I've seen some light at the tunnel. So I'm telling you, like it's possible out here. I'm in the heart of the DMV doing it just like you doing it each and every day. So, I appreciate Rap About Radio, you for, giving me the opportunity to inspire people, man, because they need people like us to keep doing it.
Right, right. And speaking of which, real quick before I let you go, man. So are you still at good relationships with DTLR? Like, are you gonna bring back in the box? Like, is that coming? Are we gonna see that again? Like, what is up with that?
It's up to them. Right now, I do sneaker blogging for DTLR, so I'm always on the DTLR blog.dtlr.com site. So you go ahead and check out my latest articles. So yeah, right now they're spearheading a lot of the main content. If they want me to do more interviews, hey, we'll go ahead and knock it out. So it's up to DTLR for us to negotiate and go forward there.